Electricity and circuits. Learning about uses of electricity in cells and to know what electric circuit is. We are facing so much of load shedding nowadays, and with the summer, it is really hot. It's almost time for the current to come back on. Electricity, as we all know, plays very important role in our day-to-day life. Electricity is used for a varied number of purposes that make our tasks easier. For example, we use electricity to light up our room, run our appliances like the television and computer, the fan. In my great grandfather's time, they did not have electricity the way we do. And so, they did not had the appliances that we are so used to. No television, no fans, no street lamps, no motor pumps. Imagine having to live like that. Electricity has improved the way we live. We have lights and are able to go out even after it's dark. A lot of our industries work at night too. Imagine living in our great grandparents' time, having to go to bed at 7 at night or having to study with the help of a lantern. So, where does the electricity to our homes come from? Electricity is produced at power stations. Power stations are also known as power plants. Big electric generators at power station produce electricity with the help of water or coal or nuclear power. The electricity is brought to our homes through thick cables or wires that are either fixed on electricity poles or through underground cables. Caution: electricity is extremely useful, but as it is with all things, we must learn to respect electricity and use proper methods of handling electricity. If we use our appliances carelessly, like pulling a plug out of the socket without turning off the switch, or handle the plug with wet hands, we are likely to get an electric shock. Some electric shocks cause severe burns and even death. This is a caution or danger sign that is found on electricity poles or electric transformers and substations. This warning tells us that high voltage current is passing through and we must be careful. We are going to be studying about electricity in this chapter, and it is dangerous to perform experiments using the power plugs in our homes. So what we are going to do is to study about electricity with the help of a very common item we use to illuminate our surrounding in the dark. And that is, tada! The portable electric lamp, or what we call a torch. The torch is really a very simple electrical device. Let us see what the torch consists of and let's study them individually. We first have the electric cells or the batteries as we call them. Then we have the torch bulb. We have the circuit. And we finally have a switch. Let's now study more about electricity by clicking on the part we have just learned about. Torch bulb. The electric bulb produces light when the torch is switched on and is called a torch bulb. The torch bulb consists of a small glass bulb fixed with a metal case. Inside the glass bulb, we have a very thin and delicate wire which is called the filament of the bulb. The filament is usually made of very thin tungsten wire. How light comes? When the electric current passes through the filament of the bulb, the filament gets really heated and becomes white hot, and this gives out light. There are two thick wires that hold up and support the filament. These wires also connect the filament to the outer circuit. One of the wires is connected to the metal tip at the base of the bulb, and the other is connected to the metal case at the side. The metal terminals are separated by an insulating material. Has this ever happened to you? Well, our bulb just fell down. Nothing seems to be wrong with our bulb. Let's turn it on. Everything seems right. But why don't we have a light from our bulb? Look closely at the filament. The filament has broken, and this bulb is now fused. Bulbs fuse due to wear and tear and due to long usage. And as we found out, a bulb can fuse if dropped or when it is jerked or shaken. Circuit, electric cell, el- electric cell. The electric cell is a device which produces a small amount of electricity. We all have used and seen electric cells or batteries sometime or the other. We use them to power our toys, our watches, our cell phones, our iPods, and list goes on and on and on, right? So how would we describe the electric cell? Yes, it's a device that produces small amounts of electricity. In fact, the electric cell is a source of safe electricity as well as portable electricity. This cell in our torch is a dry cell because it does not contain any liquid chemicals. Let us describe and find out more about this electric cell or battery. Firstly, this cell is cylindrical and it has a cap on one side and a metal disc on the other end. The cap side is the positive terminal of the cell. The metal disc is the negative terminal of the electric cell. Most batteries have the positive and negative terminals marked out on them with a sign of a plus or minus. When we see the sign plus, we know it's the positive terminal, and the sign minus implies the negative terminal. So we found out about the top and bottom portions. What's inside? Well, the electric cell has a number of chemicals stored in it. Electricity is created from the chemicals stored inside. These chemicals begin to produce electricity when the positive and negative terminals are connected. We could do that ourselves by connecting them by a wire. Aha! Did I say join the terminals directly with a wire? Oh no. We should never join the terminals directly as the chemicals in the cell get used up very fast and the cell would get damaged. So, we connect the terminals through a proper circuit, which we will be learning more about in the next segment. When the chemical in the battery is used up, the battery stops functioning and we have to replace them. Ordinary cells cannot be recharged. Hey, I'm out here. Circuit. An electric circuit is a path along which electricity can flow. To understand what a circuit is actually, let us try to make our own flashlight or torch bulb. We take two pieces of wire and connect them to the positive and negative terminals of a cell. We then take the other ends of the wires and connect the wire from the positive terminal of the battery. We connect this wire to the metal tip of a bulb. The other wire we connect to the case of the bulb. What happens? Voila! Let there be light. This is because electricity has found a path from one end of the cell to the other end. In the process of the electricity flowing, the bulb has been lit. What we have created is a simple circuit. When current flows in a circuit and completes its path from positive terminal to negative without any interruption, therefore, it is called a complete circuit or closed circuit. In an electric circuit, when an interruption occurred to flow an electric current, the circuit is called an open circuit or incomplete circuit. Notice how the arrows were showing the flow of electricity? That's right. It seems to be flowing from the positive terminal to the negative terminal, meaning in an electric circuit, the direction of flow of electricity is from the positive end to the negative end. Switch. We always use this word, the switch. Switch on the light. Switch off the TV. So, what's a switch? Let us add an on and off switch to the flashlight we made. We are going to make our switch with the help of a safety pin and two drawing pins. We mount the drawing pins on a piece of wooden board. With one of the pin, we have fixed our safety pin through the spring end. Our wires have been connected to these drawing pins. Now we have attached the pins, leaving just enough gap for the pin to touch both the pins. So what happens to our circuit when our safety pin is touching both pins? That's right, we get a closed circuit. What happens when the safety pin does not touch the other pin? We have an incomplete circuit. So, how does the switch in our torch work? We have a sliding kind of switch. When we slide the switch backwards, the circuit gets broken. When we slide the switch forward, the point in the switch completes the circuit, and so electricity is able to flow and our bulb lights up. Our torch had a sliding switch. Some switches, like our room switch, work differently. When the switch is up, the circuit is not complete, and when the switch is down, the circuit is complete. Summary: you really are very bright. Stay switched on, have fun,